Imagine a plant so abundant, so unstoppable, and so nutritious that famine simply could not exist wherever it grew. A plant that produces food for all 12 months of the year. Tender shoots in spring, vegetable-like flowerheads in summer, protein-rich pollen in midsummer, and starchy roots in winter that rival the calories of wheat and corn combined. A plant that grows anywhere water touches land, requires no fertilizer, no plowing, no planting, and yet gives 10 times the starch of potatoes per acre. For 30,000 years, this wasn't just a wild plant, it was humanity's original grocery store, a perennial supermarket built into wetlands across the world. Our ancestors depended on it long before agriculture, long before fields or farms. They harvested it, ate it, built with it, healed with it, and survived harsh winters because of it. And then, in the name of profit and progress, we drained its home, killed its habitat, erased its value, and labeled it a weed just before we needed it most. Today, while the world spends billions searching for drought-resistant crops, sustainable food systems, and natural carbon capture machines, the answer stands quietly in ditches, riverbanks, and marshes, waiting to be remembered. This is the forgotten story of the cattail, the supermarket of the swamp, and the ancient food system that might just be the key to our future survival. Welcome to House of Gardening, where we uncover the hidden power of the plants the world has forgotten. Today's journey takes us beyond gardens, beyond farms, and into the wetlands, to a plant so abundant and so resilient that our ancestors survived on it for over 30,000 years. A plant that grows without soil prep, without fertilizers, without planting, yet produces food in all 4 seasons, shoots that taste like cucumber, flowerheads like earthy corn, pollen that works as high-protein flour, and winter roots richer in starch than wheat or potatoes. It fed entire civilizations, healed wounds, built homes, insulated clothing, and filtered water, and today, most people walk past it without a second glance. This is the cattail, the supermarket of the swamp, and in a world searching for drought-proof, soil-building, zero-input crops, this ancient plant might be the most valuable food system we ever abandoned. Let's bring this forgotten giant back into the spotlight, right here on House of Gardening. A forgotten plant that ended famine for thousands of years. People believed famine was an unavoidable part of life, until they discovered a plant that grew so abundantly that hunger simply couldn't exist wherever it spread. This plant produced food during every season of the year. Shoots, flower heads, pollen, and starchy roots, each part edible, nutritious, and easy to harvest. It needed no fertilizer, no tilling, and no planting. Wherever water touched land, it grew on its own, multiplying into massive stands that could feed entire villages. And yet, today, most people walk past it without realizing they're stepping beside the most productive natural food source in human history. On House of Gardening, we explore ancient wisdom and forgotten plants, and this one may be the greatest of them all. This is the cattail, the plant that quietly fed humanity long before farming existed, and the plant we abandoned just before we needed it again. 30,000 years ago, humanity's first grocery store. Travel back to the Paleolithic era, long before fields, plows, or farming. Along the rivers of ancient China and Italy, archaeologists found stone tools coated in microscopic starch grains, not from wheat or rice, but from cattail roots. This discovery proved something remarkable. Humans were collecting and processing cattails into flour 30,000 years ago. Long before seeds were planted in rows, cattails were being harvested as a staple food. They provided reliable nutrition in every season, making them a crucial resource for survival. Our ancestors didn't choose cattails because they were easy. They chose them because no other wild plant produced as much for as long. For early humans, wetlands weren't wastelands, they were supermarkets of unstoppable abundance. And what they harvested wasn't a weed, but a life-saving food source. On House of Gardening, we reconnect with these ancient plants that shape human survival. 4 seasons, 4 foods, nature's all year. Pantry few plants offer 1 useful harvest, cattails offer 4. In early spring, tender shoots rise from the mud. Peel away the outer leaves and a crisp white core appears refreshing, mild, and similar to cucumber. In early summer, the green flowerheads arrive. Oiled lightly, they taste surprisingly like corn on the cob, with a rich, earthy twist. Then midsummer brings the golden treasure, pollen. Shake the stalks and you can collect tablespoons at a time. High-protein flour used traditionally for breads and cakes. And when winter turns the world silent, cattails still offer food. Beneath the frozen mud, their thick rhizomes pack up to 46% starch, enough to create nutrient-dense flour that rivals wheat or rice. A single acre can produce over 6,400 pounds of food. This isn't just a plant. It is a full pantry built into nature itself, and we've ignored it for generations. Food, medicine, shelter, one plant. Endless uses. Indigenous peoples across North America understood cattails better than anyone. The Paiute even had a clan called the Cattail Eaters, while other tribes proudly referred to themselves as the Cattail people. And for good reason. Cattails weren't just food, they were technology. The leaves were woven into waterproof mats for roofs and walls. The fibers were twisted into cords, stronger than hemp. The fluffy seed heads insulated moccasins, clothing, and even baby cradleboards. The jelly between young leaves worked as a natural antiseptic and pain reliever. And of course, the roots were dried and pounded into flour that could last through winter. One plant provided shelter, tools, medicine, insulation, and steady nutrition. A single root system could spread across 3 acres, creating an entire ecosystem humans could depend on. At House of Gardening, we celebrate plants like these, plants that once supported entire cultures through every season. How modern policy killed an ancient food system. If cattails were so valuable, why did we lose them? The answer is simple: policy, not nature. In 1849, U.S. government passed the first Swampland Act, ordering states to drain wetlands. Back then, water-covered land was considered useless, labeled a nuisance. By 1850, more states were added, and over 50 million acres of wetlands were transferred for the purpose of draining them dry. Machines like the Buckeye Ditcher made it easy, tearing through ecosystems at speeds no human could match. The Great Black Swamp, once a massive natural food forest, was destroyed. The Everglades were carved apart. Rich delta systems were drained and converted into farmland. By the 1970s, over half of America's wetlands were gone, and with them, cattails disappeared from places where they once dominated. We replaced perennial abundance with annual crops that require fertilizers, pesticides, and constant human intervention. The real reason cattails were erased. There was another reason wetlands were destroyed, one rarely discussed. Cattails were too powerful, too abundant, and too self-sustaining to fit into an economy built on selling seeds, fertilizers, and chemicals. You can't patent a cattail. You can't sell seeds for a plant that replants itself every year. You can keep profit from a food source anyone can harvest freely from the edge of a pond. A plant that grows without inputs threatens industries built on scarcity. And so cattails were labeled weeds. Wetlands were drained. Traditional knowledge was marked as primitive. But nature doesn't forget. While humans tried to erase cattails, the plant waited, surviving where machines couldn't reach. On House of Gardening, we believe the plants that cost nothing are often the most valuable, and cattails may be the greatest example of a food system deliberately erased for the sake of profit. Science rediscovers what ancestors already knew. In the 1980s, researchers studying cattails for energy production uncovered an incredible truth. 1 acre produces up to 22 tons of biomass. Even better, cattails act like nature's kidneys, absorbing nitrogen and phosphorus from polluted water. The same fertilizers running off modern farms into rivers are captured naturally by cattails, preventing algae blooms and ecosystem collapse. Harvesting just 250 acres of cattails removes 5 tons of phosphorus from water systems. When burned for biomass, the remaining ash becomes pure, natural fertilizer. It's a perfect closed-loop cycle. Cattails clean water, store carbon, build soil, and regenerate every year without planting. The International Institute for Sustainable Development now harvests cattails commercially, proving that this ancient plant still has a place in the modern world. While agriculture becomes more expensive and unstable, cattails quietly offer a solution that requires no chemicals, no machines, and no replanting. The future, the supermarket of the swamp, returns today. While companies spend billions engineering drought-proof crops and carbon capture technology, cattails already do all of it. Naturally, they grow in drought, flood, heat, and cold. They provide food year-round. They restore ecosystems and pull carbon from the air. And yet landowners still spend millions spraying herbicides to kill them, unaware they are destroying one of nature's most generous gifts. But knowledge is returning. Homesteaders, foragers, gardeners, and researchers are rediscovering cattails as a survival crop of the future. And here at House of Gardening, we believe the plants that thrive without human help are the ones that will matter most in the years ahead. The cattail didn't disappear. We simply forgot to look. Now, with climate change, soil loss, and rising food costs, the supermarket of the swamp may be the key to long-term resilience. Nature already built the perfect food system. All we have to do is pay attention. Before we end, remember this. What happened on that dead land can happen in your garden too. Nature is always ready to heal, it just needs you to take the first small step. If you found inspiration in this transformation, make sure to like the video, subscribe to House of Gardening, and turn on the bell so you never miss the ideas that can completely change the way you grow. Drop a comment and tell me what part of this journey surprised you the most. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep growing, keep experimenting, and keep believing in the magic beneath your soil.